evening, everybody. Welcome back to the first proper review show of the season. I am Gooner Lee Meads, Lee Meadows, joined by Emerson Crozier down below me. Hello, mate.
Hello, and various subscribers around the world.
Uh, all around the world, the millions and millions that are on the counter right above my head. And I am also joined by the poshest man in all of sports entertainment, Posh Bertie. How are you, sir?
Doing very well, thank you very much. And yes, looking forward to the first review of the new season. Here's to many more, and hopefully it all ends in us winning, as it was today for Saturday. If that makes sense.
Yes.
Good to see you.
Good start, mate. Excellent job. Well, I'll ask you both firstly, how was your weekend? Did you have a good one? Emerson, you go first, mate.
Yes, I had a good weekend. Went to the under-21s on Friday. Went to the Emirates on Saturday. Sadly, I didn't go to the under-18s game because it was away to West Ham. So, thing like that, it would have been a tight schedule to get from West Ham's academy ground to the Emirates on Saturday. So I decided just head to the usual place where I normally go on a Saturday morning. But as you know, you know where I go, so that's why I can give you a hint of who's going to be in the team. So you know where I was on Saturday morning prior to the match.
Absolutely. Bertie, let me know how your weekend went, mate. How did you find it? Was it good?
Well, on Saturday, instead of watching the team I support, instead of a team in red shirts playing a team in orange shirts, I went and watched another team in red shirts playing another team in orange shirts. My local team, Ebbsfleet, play league favourites for the National League, Barnet. Once again, we lost, but I'll be honest, the scoreline flatters us. It was 2-0 to Barnet for most of the game, but we got a penalty in the very last kick of the game. And who else? Dominic Polion scored. And I reckon Polion's going to be top scorer of the National League, but it's all going to be consolation goals. That's what it's going to be.
Oh, anyway, dear. It's a shame.
But hey, Arsenal won, so that's good.
It absolutely is. And I think it's probably a good time to jump in about talking about the Arsenal game. So for me, as the starting 11's coming, the only real surprise I might have had would have been Martinelli starting on the left and not Trossard. So let's fill in the gaps a little bit. Raya, of course, is the goalkeeper. Zinchenko, obviously the big debate about whether he'd play left back. Of course he did. Thomas Partey, I want to just single out just a little bit, started in the central midfield. And, of course, Kai Havertz started as the centre forward. Posh, I might as well go for you first because you love these two players so much as well, Zinny and Kai Havertz. Any surprises there for you?
No, I was surprised to see Martinelli playing. I thought we were going to see Trossard. But apart from that, I wasn't surprised with the lineup. Really. Zinchenko, there was a bit of debate about left back. Calafiori didn't get a single minute in the team against Wolves, which is a bit strange. It was Jurrien Timber who came on in the second half, which we'll get to in a minute. But I wasn't surprised to see Zinchenko play because, you know, on paper, when you're at home against Wolves, you can maybe include him in the team. I mean, I wouldn't include him in any game, really. But
you never mentioned before.
If possible, you could. But we can't. I don't want to see him. I really don't want to see him at Villa Park on Saturday because that will be a weak link. But yeah, I wasn't surprised by the team. Wasn't surprised by the team, apart from Martinelli instead of Trossard.
What about you, Emerson? Did you have any reservations on anywhere on the pitch?
Not really. I knew Shevchenko would play because, as we said, I think we said this last week when we done a review of the match. I'm not sure if we'd done it last week or when we said it in after one of the matches in America that Calafiori is still obviously feeling himself in the way Arsenal play. Not obviously, it's going to take time for him to play because all the Arsenal fans expected to see Calafiori week in, week out. We know that Shevchenko will get a few games this season if he's lucky.
Yeah.
And then obviously once Calafiori is up to speed and he's playing matches, and then he would get that left back position because we know that Kiwior is not going to be playing in that position.
He may not be hanging around from what we've heard.
Yeah, so it's between Shevchenko and Calafiori as the left backs for the remainder of the season. I got a feeling we can use Timber as an emergent centre half. The only thing that will go against Timber as a centre half is his height, as I said before, and Shevchenko, because obviously they're the shortest of all our back four. All the rest are over 6 foot. So all we have to worry about is set pieces. If we get crosses, thing like that, and see how Timber and our Timber reacts to crosses as well if he's playing as a centre half. So that's his weakest link. Other than that, he's got a good all-round game. His passing's good. Although we don't know what his shooting's like. If he's in a shooting position to the ball, we don't know what that's going to be like. So watch this space.
Yeah. I was going to say, what if Tomiyasu comes back from injury, because he can play left back too?
He will cover Ben White. He will cover Ben White's position right back, because we haven't really got an actual cover for a right back position if you look at it. So he would cover the right back position, or because don't forget both Gabriel and Saliba are both left-footed, so thing like that. So that is the reason why. That's the reason why Ben White needs cover for him. So Tomiyasu is the ideal candidate to play in that position if Ben White gets injured or suspended.
I do agree with that to an extent, but then I do think that Timber is one that can cover both sides, because I think we've seen him all round the back line, haven't we? So, well, it'd be interesting to see. It's just nice seeing Timber getting a few minutes on the pitch, but we're getting ahead of ourselves a little bit. Let's talk about the Arsenal first goal, shall we? Really, this sort of came in from second phase on a free kick. Ball came to Bukayo Saka on the right wing. His beautiful delivery into that penalty area was met by Kai Havertz's pinpoint header into the net. I really like this goal. Typical centre forwards goal, I felt, Bertie.
It was a beautiful cross from Saka as well, probably one of his best. And it found Kai Havertz perfectly. I'd say it was very similar to the goal that we scored against Brentford last season, the late winner. Lovely cross from Saka, Havertz with the header. Only difference is two things. A, we're playing Wolves, and B, it's a lot earlier.
Premier League
it was a very nice cross from Saka, found Havertz, and obviously I didn't watch the whole game. I've only seen the highlights of the match because I was at Ebbsfleet, of course. But from what I saw, from what I heard anyway, we were knocking on the door a lot before the first goal, and we were the more dominant side, which you'd expect. People felt that the goal was coming, and thankfully it did, via a lovely cross from Saka. Havertz to head it in, and that's one competitive game and one goal for Kai Havertz. Yeah.
And an assist, but we'll get to that in a bit.
We'll get to that in a minute.
We'll get to that in a bit. Emerson, you were there. Just one point I want to make on Saka, really. Didn't have the biggest of pre-season. Yeah, I think he might have played maybe one half and then a little bit of a second game. So I thought for the 80 minutes that he played, I thought he actually played. He looked quite strong. And we saw
he was okay, but as I said, he's easing himself back into match fitness and things like that. Because obviously, as you said, he he didn't play many matches in pre-season due to England's exertions in the Euros. So that's about right. The 80th minute, he could have been taken off a little bit earlier to give another player a chance, to see what they can do. Something like that. I could have taken him off after 70 minutes, but as I said, he did get his usual kicks from the opposition, thing like that. But he didn't stay down for long. As we said, he continued to the 8th minute before he got subbed. And then, as I said, as he walked around the pitch, he applauded all the Arsenal fans, something like that. So it was a good performance. And as I said, we touch on his goal later in a few minutes. But as I said, he took his goal very well. But as I said, regarding that Havertz goal, it's a typical Havertz goal. This is what we need him for in that box where he can cause havoc to the opposition. Because if they haven't got a tall centre half, they're the sort of balls he should get at the end of it, whether it's head or the odd tapping if he's lucky.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if Kai's going to play that number 9 role, we need him to be putting away chances like that. I think he did very well. I think out the 2 outfield players, I think the 2 that I think played the best were the 2 scorers, Saka and Havertz. I think in terms of a general performance, I think it was steady, not spectacular, is what I want to say. But we managed to get a result, although it wasn't all one-sided. There was a Wolves move that I just want to sort of touch on a little bit. Very similar to our opening goal, where Chan got the cross in from the right-hand side. Their new loan signing, Larson got a header to it. Superb save from Raya, who sort of was moving one way, got to the other, and managed to get a good hand to it. Did you see this, Posh? You might not have seen it.
I did.
You did? I'm sure you'd like to relish in the glory of talking about Raya a little bit then.
I'm just confused because we were constantly told that Raya is not a good goalkeeper and he only gets saved by our defence. I don't know what happened there. No, well, that was apparently the other way around in that game. Oh, it was. We were very lucky there, and David Raya. That's very. Do you think he meant it? Because it kind of came off him a little bit. I hope he did. He should have done, but yeah.
If you think did what, because he was moving one way because of the direction of the ball, but then his reaction was good to get back to the other side, and that's David Seaman. Like for me and Emerson's generation, we'd seen Dave do that years ago. So excellent work from him.
Excellent save, regardless.
And some of us, when he came into the side, I might have had reservations myself. Posh, you might remember it. You might remember it.
I was skeptical as well, even though I was skeptical about Ramsdale as well. And
You're
some
just
mistakes
skeptical
he
full
made.
stop, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly. It's just because I'm a younger Arsenal fan, and I have not. Whilst Arsenal have won the league in my lifetime, I'm only used to us coming up short. That's how skeptical I am.
You probably were still in nappies, right?
I was.
Things never change.
2004. I was about 3 or 4 years old last time we won the league. Yeah. I'd like that to change, please.
I think we all would, mate. I think we all would. So I think we all have the same goal. Emerson, let's talk to you about David Raya and he emerging as the number 1 goalkeeper. Something we've not really talked to you about. Especially if you're there and you're seeing him in person, your views of him, watching and comparing him to Mr. Ramsdale.
As I said, thing like that, he's a good keeper than everybody thinks he is. I think that the only concern I have, although you don't look at goalkeepers like I do now, thing like that. I notice sometimes he could be hesitant when he gets when we play a low block, when he needs to pass out to defenders, he sometimes hesitates and things like that, and that sometimes gets him out of trouble. Or if not, if a stronger attacker comes in and things like that, they can try and nick a goal off him. So that's something that Arsenal's defence need to be wary about, things like that. Obviously, they got a set piece coach. Obviously, he can tell the defenders, what to expect, from David Ray for when he kicks the ball out. He's got a good all-round game, as I said. He's a good shot stopper, as everybody knows, and like that. But as I said, although he's short in height for a goalkeeper, I think he's 5'10", being like that. I'm not too sure. But as I said, being like that, so he would be good. He'd be a good asset for Arsenal for the next 4 years. For the remainder of his contract, and we'll see where we go from there. Being like that, because if Ramsdale goes, obviously we know we have to get a replacement in, because we know Setford is going to be like a backup goalkeeper just on match days only, because most fans thinking that Setford is the backup goalkeeper should Ramsdale go. But if we look at it, he's like most teams bring 3 goalkeepers on a match day, and obviously one of them's a backup. Should any of them the other 2 get injured prior to the match or fall ill prior to the match, then he'll be named in the squad, because normally that's the player or academy player that's omitted from a match day squad from each team. So the goalkeeping coach, as I said, knew him from his Brentford days. So I knew him from his Brentford days when he was at Brentford before I took it. It was then, as I said, after that, I didn't hear about David Raya until he moved to Arsenal.
That's fair enough. The next thing I want to sort of move on to a little bit, I mentioned when we were talking about the lineups, I mentioned about Thomas Partey playing. I was one of those who thought he might have been finished, and I thought he might have been sold. There's still speculation now that he might be on his way. I'm not sure he had the best of games here against Wolves. There is a couple of moments that I want to single him out for in a positive light, though. And the one I'm going to bring up, this is an effort in the second half where Rice picked up the ball, still playing in that left 8 position, by the way, supported by Zinchenko, was playing on that at this part of the game. He was as a conventional left back at that stage. The cross came in, Thomas Partey hit a lovely shot. It just went wide. Let's bring it to Emerson and then to Posh this time. His thoughts on the effort on the second half there?
Regarding Thomas Partey, he had a good first half. And I said he had a good first half. He had a good, say, first 20 minutes of the second half. But as the match was drawing to a close, he began to give like sloppy passes away, which was a concern to most Arsenal players that were in the stadium, like that. But as I said,
I heard as well.
He
Game of 2 halves for Partey, really.
Yeah, because he managed to get through. He managed to get through the game unscathed as well, as far as we know. No injuries as well. But as I said, the only concern regarding the midfield was the thing that Rice pulled up lame as well, so you saw him stretch out. But according to one of my contacts that I know very well, but you guys don't know him very well, that he told me today by a private message that Declan Rice had an MRI scan at the training ground. It revealed nothing other than a minor knock to his ankle, and it was just like fatigue on his hamstring, and that's it. But it's nothing to concern about. So he should be fit enough to play against Villa on Saturday, and like that. So all we have to say, like that, good that our medical team picked it up nice and early, being like that, because obviously he went to the training ground to have treatment today, which is normally the recovery day. Monday's normally recovery day or press day, they normally do. Yeah. But it was mostly a recovery day. He was the only one who was receiving treatment other than Tierney and Tommy Asher, who were in the treatment room. All the rest of the players most probably, there's been like this had a light gym session, no ball work on the outside, everything like that. So, and then they obviously went home after that. So that's the update on Declan Rice. If we didn't know, what sort of injury he picked up.
Fair enough. I was going to get to that in a little bit. I did hear it was a bit of a knock and nothing too serious from what Arteta said after the match. But then it's interesting to get a little bit more of an insight into that. That's quite. I mean, I did hear a few Hearts missing a beat as soon as you said MRI there. But yeah, interesting information. Thank you for that.
I don't know why you were so nervous about Rice potentially being injured. I thought we had an amazing squad and that we were going to win it all. But that's not from your words.
Come at me at your sarcasm at your will, mate. Go for it, mate.
No, I mean, like, I see a lot of fans saying how we're going to win it all and everything. We've got a great squad. Yet when one player gets injured, everyone could. When one player could have got injured, I should say, where at the time when Rice was hobbling a bit, they're all nervous and saying, "Oh God, we're done for." So this is what I've been trying to say. This is why I said the reality check is kicking in because, yeah, when our squad is fully fit, we do have a great squad. But Rice, Saliba, Saka, those three get injured, it's going to be an uphill battle. That's what I think. But yeah, that's me on the Declan Rice front. You were asking about Partey?
Yeah.
So again, from what I heard, it was a game of two halves for Thomas Partey. The first half, apparently, he was very good. Second half, I think it is. I think tiredness is the issue. I think you got to remember his age, and also this is why I said like Partey. Whilst I do think he can be a great player for us, he is not going to be a regular. I said previously, he's not getting any younger. He's not going to be a regular week in and week out starter. He's more likely going to be a rotation option going forward. He's not a player that can play full 90 minutes for every game anymore. I've come to that conclusion myself. I think he probably should have been substituted earlier. But I will say, on the other hand, in the second half, Thomas Partey started the move for the second goal. He gave the ball to Havertz, who then did the assist. But of course, some fans on social media with an agenda don't want to hear about that because it doesn't suit their narrative. But yeah, look, Thomas Partey, he's not going to be a regular week in and week out starter anymore. But as you can just about get 60 minutes out of him.
Okay, right. I'll kind of address your comments about Rice, I think, because that probably needs to be said. I think when you have someone who's an outstanding talent like Declan Rice, I think you'd agree with me. He was an absolute standout player for us. And once a team loses a linchpin of their side, if you like, doesn't matter if it's your Arsenal, it's your Man United, it's your I won't say Chelsea because they've got about 150 odd players, but you get what I'm saying.
How do they get on?
Well, yeah, we might be talking about that in a bit. I mean, 115 charges against 150 players. Work it out. Controversial. Yeah. Okay. So look, when I say my heart jumped or skipped a little bit, I mean anyone would say it's the same with United with their what's his name? It's not Haaland, but it's Rasmus Højlund. That's right. So when you're missing your key number 9, say, you know that's a problem, right? If we miss Declan Rice, he's our key midfielder, in my opinion. Look, that's why I said maybe a bit of an issue. It's good to hear he's okay though. Yeah, I do think we do have a decent squad, but we have an outstanding player in that midfield position. Perhaps that's maybe why Mikel Moreno may be on his way sometimes soon. You know, I can see in your banner, anyone saying it, I'm like, apparently he's on, watch this.
He's on his way. He's walking very slowly.
Well, you know, it's a nightmare getting through check-in these days, mate. That's what it is. That's the problem. But in all seriousness, keep watching. It's still 11 days, guys. I don't know. There's no real issue.
Yeah, but with Edu, it takes 11 months to sign a player. So
I love the fact you think it all happens in 2 minutes like that. Do you know what it is? You've been playing too much of that Football Manager game.
No, it's not that. I mean, You look at how Man United have signed players. Look at how West Ham have signed players. Look how quickly they've got it done.
Different sort of players,
You don't see anything about tense negotiations and where they're in and all that, and then like 4 weeks later, all right, here we go. Paperwork's going to be done now. That you don't get that at other clubs. It's only Arsenal.
Do you know what? Do you know what? There was a time before Twitter where you just got on with it and didn't moan about it. You said, "Oh, look, we signed this player, great," and there wasn't all this in the know business. You know what I mean? Oh, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not saying that not all transfer business gets relayed to the public, does it? That's that's a given, right?
No, but I think even if I was around in the days that you mentioned, and I was.
Yeah, with the dinosaurs, you mean? Yeah. I know.
No, don't be silly. I was watching one of our previous videos for a bit, and as the T-shirt you wore said, "You're not getting old. You're becoming a classic."
I'm failing my MOT at the moment, mate. That's my problem.
But no, yeah, even I would have waited on the days and thought, hang on, we're taking a while, aren't we? But yeah. Anyway, that's
Russ.
That.
I'm gonna put a pin in your comment. We'll get to that in a bit, mate. Okay, because I have seen it. I want to bring up that in a bit. I've seen quite a bit about Mr. Nketiah, but I want to just go through. I mean, I know Posh has kind of taken my thunder a little bit when describing the second goal before I did, but
I didn't describe it fully.
No, you did a great job with it. Well, good, and I'll give it to Emerson. No, it's fine. It's fine.
Oh, I was giving you the through ball for the assist, and you were
Is
gonna.
that what it was?
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it away, was I? Okay. Well, what I have actually got written down in my notes, which I know you often make lots of notes on these programs.
Always.
Yep. Despite maybe what I did say earlier at the start, when people were a little bit iffy on Partey, I did say that Partey's awareness, his quick mind, playing that free kick that found Havertz, and Havertz was all over the front line as well again. I think he did a really good in supporting in this part of the game. Gave it to Saka. Now, I counted at least 2. There might have been more times, at least, where Saka was just given the time and space to get onto that strong left foot, which we know he has. I think it might have been a bit much of Arteta describing him as a bit like Messi, but I digress. Super finish from Bukayo Saka for the second goal, and just to sort of back a little bit, the reason why we probably didn't make a change, like for Partey, you said, because we didn't get that second goal till quite late on. I mean, I think it was something like the 75th or something minute. So if it was a very tight game as a general, I will say. Let's throw it to Emerson for the second goal, mate.
Yeah, as you said, the build-up was good. That led to the goal, thing like that. As I said, when Saka is on like a one-on-one situation with a defender, the key to it is don't let him shoot with his left foot. Obviously, we know he's got a weak right foot, thing like that, because everything he controls with his right foot. And if he gets time and space, they're the sort of goals he's going to score week in, week out, including penalties as well, if he gets the chance to take the penalty. But as I said, it was a typical Saka goal. And if you look at all the goals he's near enough scored, they're all similar, thing like that, whether it's for Arsenal or for England, thing like that, or when we're playing in the Champions League, all these goals are all similar, thing like that. Obviously, we know he's dodgy at heading, but he has scored a few goals with his head, but thing like that. But it's mostly his left foot.
Yeah,
it's mostly his left foot. This is his asset as well. So it's a typical Saka goal.
Fair enough. Is there anything else you wanted to add on the second goal, Posh?
It was a classic Saka goal, cutting inside and then shooting in the back of the net. What more can you say? Like you said, a lot of time and room to do that. You would not do that with Saka. You'll get punished for it, and that's what Wolves did. And we needed that goal, from what I heard, because Wolves were starting to get back into the game, but we bought Urian Timber on. And apparently he played very well. And you could say that he changed the game for us. So, hey, you take Zinchenko off, we perform better. Interesting. But
Can
no.
I just roll my eyes at that statement, crying out loud?
Oh, even you agree with me on that. Come on. But Saka
I
scored
don't know.
2-0. Yeah, Saka scored 2-0. We needed that. And that was game, set, and match for us.
I don't know if the substitution would have changed the game that much, but the change of a left back to maybe someone who was going to stay a little bit deeper did make sense so we didn't get caught out on the break. We did very nearly get caught out with some bad habits that we've had before. This is before the second goal. And this is where we got very sloppy, I felt. And they were playing out from the back. Raya gives the ball to Saliba. And then Kuna, I think it is, managed to get hold of, intercepted the pass out. Well, luckily for us, I think he had the whole goal gaping, but he shot straight at Raya. We've got to be careful not to make mistakes like that again. I thought I'd seen enough of that from Mr. Ramsdale, but I would say maybe a little bit of rustiness, maybe a little bit of nerves, maybe a little bit of fatigue in the game. I'm not sure what it was, but did you see this moment, Posh? You might not have seen it in the highlights.
I did see it.
Yes.
I did see it.
I had flashbacks.
Whilst I'm pleased we won, it just felt like we're watching us from last season and the season before, where we haven't learned much from mistakes that we've made. It's almost a typical, really, where when we score, we perform very well, but then we suddenly take our feet off the gas at any moment, and a silly mistake could be made, and we're punished for it. Luckily, we weren't punished for it, but it just feels like we haven't learned anything from mistakes that we've made previously. And for Saliba to do that is a rarity. We better not have any of those moments from players like Saliba or Gabriel. Even I said that we've got one of the best, if not the best, defence in the league. And I don't want to track back on that. We've usually got a solid defence. We can't make mistakes like that against Villa. We cannot.
Or
we'll get punished for that.
Yeah.
Or any day, really. But yeah.
My feeling was they were just a little bit rusty. And look, I don't know how much sort of time they would have had together. Bear in mind, Raya's not had much time in the pre-season either. So hopefully that was kind of a one-off. Have you got anything else to add on the match as a whole here, Emerson? Because I think after I think I'm going to go on to some of the other comments and some of the other bits of rumour and speculation.
Nothing much, but just to let you know, my phone is just warning. My phone's going to overheat, so if I cut out, I might have difficulties coming back on. But I'll try it with one of my other phones that I've got with me next to me. So thing like that. So I'll try and get the StreamYard link.
There we go.
And he's gone. Okay, fair enough. We'll carry on. We'll carry on then, mate. No problem at all. Well, let's refer back then to Russ Morgan's comment. Have we all seen that Forest are in for Nketiah? I've got I'll sort of put it into what I've seen in sort of time scale a little bit. I haven't got screenshots or anything like that because I don't know if what I've seen is right or if it's genuine. But tell you what I've seen and what I've heard. I've heard David Ornstein say earlier on this evening that Forest had made Nketiah their number one forward target. And of course, the figure has been banded about 25-30 million pounds. That's obviously coming from the journalists. We don't know if that's come from the club or whatever. We know Ornstein's quite close with the club anyway. But anyway, whether that's the fee or not, that's really irrelevant, really. If it's a move that, Nketiah never made it onto the field, there probably was a reason for that. That's what I was trying to get at about the last pre-season game. He never ended up on the field because of perhaps the transfer speculation that was on him. That's the same situation for Ivan Toney, who missed out on the Brentford game against Palace, and maybe to a lesser extent, because I think the Sterling one is a little bit different, that he missed out on to Chelsea in their place in the squad. Now, at the same sort of time as I saw that Ornstein story break, I have seen a somewhat of a blurry picture, but it is claimed that that is the box at the Emirates Stadium which Nketiah and his family use, and they were clearing it out. There is a sort of blurry image of that number 14, that sacred number 14 shirt, which we all love, being taken down with one of the pictures and put in a box and stuff like that. So, and another thing I have heard, and again, this is all rumor and speculation, because I don't know, this is all secondhand from what I'm telling you all, is that he's already said his goodbyes to the other players. Now, Mr. Oneless, I'm sure you have an opinion or two on Nketiah, so come on then, let's have it.
So Nketiah may be thinking that he's leaving. He may have been, if those rumor and innuendo that you're telling me is true.
Yes.
Nketiah may be thinking he's leaving. He may be thinking he's about to say his goodbyes. But let me answer your question there with a question myself. Do you trust Edu Gaspar to actually complete this deal? Because this 25 million bid was rejected. And now, according to David Ornstein, who I think it's him and Fabrizio Romano that are the reliable ones out of all of the gossip people out there. But Arsenal want 30 to 35 million for Nketiah. No sane club would pay 30 million for Edward Nketiah.
Eduardo.
No club would. We were lucky to get 27 million from him from Marseille. We stupidly... Oh, hello, good to see you. We stupidly rejected it and we fumbled the Marseille deal. Now, we're asking for £35 million. Nottingham Forest aren't going to do that. They're not going. No club is going to pay 35 million or even 30 million for Eddie Nketiah. So, famous last words. I'm sorry, but Eddie is staying, and we failed.
Okay then. Well, let's remember it's England international Eddie Nketiah. You've got the English
For one game off the bench.
Yeah, no, absolutely, it counts. It's a cap, right? You've got the English tax that we see on all the English players that put the price up. So why not get the money for him? That's called negotiation. But yeah, I actually do think this is going to go ahead. I really do. And one way or the other, Mr. Oneless, either I'm going to look really stupid or just saying.
I'm
on the line here. I am the sole owner of Gooner Gathering, and if I am wrong, you know what? I'll give up my career. Shall I? I'll give it all up.
No. I hope I'm wrong. I hope that I'm wrong. For the love of God, I hope I'm wrong. But we do need a striker though. If he goes, as I've said,
I'll agree with that.
Time and time again. But we don't have much time in the window. And you know what we're like with signing players. Emerson's back. Well, he might be back. We're getting a loading
It could
screen.
be.
There he is.
There he is. Hello, mate. You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Sorry about that.
It's all right. It's not to worry. Not to worry. Just a little bit of a program note. If you're having issues with your phone or whatever, Emerson, we'll cover the transfer business. If you want to send a little video to me for tomorrow's content, that will probably help us out massively. If we want to talk similar to what Matt did and Matt Roberts did a great video for us talking about
Arsenal women. I heard it this morning.
Arsenal women against the Washington
Spirit.
Thank you very much. I knew it was there somewhere. Right. So we're in the middle of talking about Nketiah, you may have seen this on Twitter, or you may not have done. There is a picture around which is claiming it is Nketiah's executive box being cleared. Ornstein has said that Forest are making him his number one, their number one transfer target for the summer as a forward. I'll just bring up Russ's comment because we haven't mentioned that yet. Why not? As in Chelsea clubs may pay more for Chelsea players who haven't made a first team appearance. So why not get the money that Nketiah is after? I'm going to go to Emerson here because Bertie's already had his piece.
Yeah, I heard but briefly on my other phone. Yeah, regarding Nketiah, that picture, I've seen it myself. You know, obviously it's his leg because we don't know which Arsenal player it is. It could be anyone. It could be anyone. It could be someone from the backroom staff. We don't know if it was him or not on Saturday. But regarding what David Ornstein said that Nottingham Forest is the link to Nketiah for a move, but the key to it is, as Bertie said, is will Edu Gaspar complete the deal? Personally, I'll say yes, he will complete the deal. And as I say, Arsenal want to get the money as quickly as possible, and they want Eddie out the door as quickly as possible so they can get a replacement with the money that we get from Nottingham Forest for that. Because if Nottingham Forest give us a one-off payment of 25 billion, that will go on to the striker who we desperate that we're going to get. Who that striker is, we still don't know. But I'm willing it down to only one striker that we're going to be looking at in this window, and possibly we might get a Saka replacement as well as a goalkeeper as a last resort. But as I said, 25 million. I would say to Arsenal, take it because Marseille was just mucking around Arsenal around last week regarding the transfer fee. They said everything was in place. The only thing was that he was going to take around out between 80 and 90 grand a week instead of the 100 grand that he was going to get at Arsenal. So he would have had to take a pay cut just to go to Marseille, thing like that regarding wages wise and thing like that. So Marseille just mucked Arsenal around. So I'm glad that he did go to Marseille because personally, I don't think he would have done well out there. If he saw how Balogun done it in his first year when he went there on loan initially, he done well. And then he signed for Monaco permanently. Although the French league has just started, so I'm not sure if he's up to speed with Monaco, thing like that, as we speak. So thing like that. So because now that's TNT don't show the French league now, so thing like that. So they mostly concentrate on the Italian league. So thing like that. So I think the Zone is the channel that's covering the Bundesliga and possibly the Portuguese league and the French league now. So thing like that. So everybody now has to look on those that channel for for highlights and things like that. But Nketiah moved to Nottingham Forest, that will go through pending hopefully by the end of this week or early next week, or even go up to the wire on transfer deadline day. But Arsenal need to get at least three more players in before the deadline. That is my point of view.
Fair enough. I'm grinning like a Cheshire cat because that's the second mention DAZN has had on our channel. So if they want to give us a sponsor after their two mentions on the streams today, that would be great. So hit us up. That would be wonderful. Maybe a possible striker replacement for Nketiah is Federico Chiesa of Juventus, Italian striker who has been left out of their first matchday squad tonight in Serie A. So that I obviously am more familiar with his dad, Enrique Chiesa, from a different generation, but it's just one I wanted to keep an eye on.
He's not a striker; he's a winger.
Well, forward player. going to remind you Thierry Henry was a winger and then he'd converted
I'd rather sign a proper striker who's an actual number 9. Thank you very much.
Okay.
I agree with you there, Bertie. But regarding that Chiesa thing, Lee, sorry to cut you short. Regarding that Chiesa thing, I personally won't have him. From what I've been hearing, from other podcasts and from rumblings that I've been seeing, is that he's injury prone and thing like that. He's not back to his very best. So we may get if he did come to Arsenal, we get him on the cheap, and it's going to be anything between 15 and 20 million. And if he gets injured in his first few matches that he plays for Arsenal, we're back to square one again. So you're thinking, why did we get him? I'm glad we didn't get Neto because he wasn't even in the squad yesterday for Chelsea against Man City. So that's it. So you look at all the.
He came on as a sub.
Yeah, but you look at. Oh, sorry about that. So if you look at all the players that we've linked to, some have played minutes, for their new club, some haven't. And also, when we're linked to a player, normally they tell that player you're not playing in that match due to we don't want you to get injured, thing like that. You've got to go to your new club. You've got to have a medical, and if you pass the medical, you're ready signed for your new club. So you're about halfway there, thing like that. So that's the way I see it with foreign players. So thing like that. It's the same with Calafiori. He's just fielding himself in at Arsenal. He's getting used to his surroundings, with the players. With that, obviously, he can speak English, which is an advantage to him, thing like that. So I'm sure there's a few Italian speakers other than Jorginho, Arteta, and one of the backroom staff can speak Italian.
Okay, that's interesting. Well, maybe there's 2 players I will bring up, not necessarily for Arsenal, but you might think they may be suitable for Arsenal. Well, we'll see how this turns out. This might be our last little bit because I want to get this stream finished
There's a very important part from the Wolves game that you forgot to mention. A certain incident or two involving Mascara, the Wolves player.
Well, if you wanted to go, I was going to move it along. You go ahead, Posh.
Havertz getting choke slammed by him.
Absolutely did. Absolutely.
And also him involving Jesus not knowing what Arsenal really means.
No, I was really careful on that one, Posh. Oh, I can't trust him, can I? I can't.
Because actually, if we were going to talk about this, I would have probably agreed with you. I think he should have been sent off after the Havertz incident.
Yeah, perhaps he should have done it. I mean, there was an extended period where he sort of almost looked like he grabbed him on the neck and done full-on cane on him and took him down to the ground. It was interesting watching Dermot Gallagher earlier on today on the ref watch, and he said he was watching it over, saying that, did he mean to do it? Only he will know if he meant to do it. And then he said about his momentum on the fall. Only he will know if he meant to do it or not, and whether he's putting his hand up saying, apologies, didn't mean to do it or not. I don't know. I personally, I was surprised VAR didn't send him off. But then, Emerson, you were there. Did you see it?
Not from my angle, but from what I've seen from the TV highlights, and then, as you said, I watched that ref watch this morning. Dermot Gallagher, I think. Well, I know some of us might say he's biased of what he sees on these controversial incidents. Personally, thing like that, I know he did choke slam him, but whether it was a sending off offence, that's another matter. Thing like that, because they reckon. So it's one of those ones you give it or you don't. Thing like that. So, and they did say VAR did check it, and according to VAR, they said there was nothing in it, so it was nothing to worry about.
Well, what about
Granit Xhaka did something similar.
The Jesus one, that's something completely different. That was something completely different. But we can't go into detail of what that player did, anything like that. Something like that. So we won't say anything about that. Because
that wasn't the thumbnail. I was so tempted to change it, but I didn't.
No, I'm glad you didn't.
Yeah, it's an adult show between the 3 of us, and as I said, we might have younger viewers not even watch this podcast. We don't know that. Like, so the best thing is just the thing, just keep our mouth shut and just thing like that, and just leave it at that.
Absolutely, but yes.
And you want me to give you that bit about the academy before we end the show, because we've got 10 minutes to play with.
Yeah, okay, if you want to, mate. Yeah, because we had the game that you were out on Friday night.
Right.
Yeah. So the Arsenal academy were playing Manchester United. Was it under-21?
Yes.
I believe it was. How did it go, MC?
That's right. The match was 4-0 by half time, and at full time it ended up 4-2. The goal scorers were Keon Edwards with 2 goals, Mikel Rosiak with 1, and Nathan Butler Oyedeji with 1. The attendance was roughly 400 plus, but I'm only saying that because they didn't give the attendance out on the day or on flash score or live score afterwards. And as I said, it was a good all-round display with Arsenal in the first half. They controlled the game. But as I said, halfway through the second half, they came sloppy and then conceded 2 stupid goals. But in the end, Arsenal came out as winners, something like that. And the good thing about that game is that Chidozie Obi Martins did not play in that game whatsoever. Thing like that. He didn't even travel with the squad, or he wasn't in the stands or anything like that. So there's something still going on between Arsenal and Man United with a tribunal to get compensation regarding his scholarship contract.
Yeah, the training
to say that,
something
like that, because he's done everything right. He's done everything else at Man United, had the medical, accepted personal terms. It's just a matter of him getting playing, because that is a player that he missed during this game on Friday. That, from what I saw, because the centre forward they got is not good enough. It's not good enough. Like that. So if he gets a run of under 21 matches before he makes his senior debut for Man United's first team, so be it. And regarding the under 18s, the next day on Saturday, away to West Ham, which they started their league campaign. It finished West Ham 2, Arsenal 3. Goal scorers were Siad O'Neill, who's an Irish under-16 international. He got 2 goals, and the winning goal, was scored by Andre Annas, who I believe is 14 or 15 years old. So thing like that. So with our academy, with our latest crop of under-18 players, they're showing what Jack Wilshere, what they can do, whether they get some minutes in the under-21s during the season. I have to wait and see. And as I said, to cut this short, the next matches are Wolves versus Arsenal on Friday, the under-21s, and the under-18s play at the training ground. I forget who the opposition is, but I'll fill you in during the week who it is. And obviously, I'll give you a match report regarding that Wolves versus Arsenal match. And they've changed the venue for that, because I've just found out from Wolves today that it's at their training ground. So any Arsenal fans who just listen to this podcast, who are willing to go to that match, please contact Wolves training grounds number. I'm not going to give that number, so I can't remember off the top of my head. So
fair, okay.
Just contact Wolves. Just contact Wolves, and that's it for the academy roundup.
Thank you very much for that, mate. 2 things I just want to quickly speak about. Ivan Toney missed out for Brentford. Sterling missed out for Chelsea. I mean, with your 2 experienced forward players there, could they fill the striker options, Posh?
Tony, I think their ship has sailed, and I know you're asking me about Sterling because you want to try and wind me up about a Chelsea player going to Arsenal.
What's that? No, it's a genuine question. So,
Oh, absolutely not. I don't want Raheem Sterling at Arsenal. I've had enough of Chelsea cast-offs at Arsenal, and also he's not a striker; he's a winger. You're getting your wingers and strikers confused a little bit, Mr. Meadows.
I call them forward players. What I call them, I didn't call.
Oh, as like a Saka backup. Still, no.
Yeah, precisely.
No.
And I agree with you, Guy. And I agree with you, Posh, regarding Sterling. Definitely a no-no for Arsenal. Ivan Toney, I think, has made up his mind of which club he's going to go to. And I believe it's going to be that Saudi Arabian club that is knocking on the door. It was a thing like that. So the only other, as I said, there's only one other striker out there who scored over the weekend, as we know, is Gyökeres of Sporting Lisbon. If Arsenal can just get activate his release clause, then who knows? Who knows? That could be the final piece of the jigsaw. And as I said, Kingsley Coman, he could be the second replacement for for to the end of the season as well. So
I heard the possibility of the loan deal on that one.
So it's just a matter of Arsenal and Bayern Munich getting together, unless they want to play the exchange. Shevchenko could fit the bill. So because he was linked to him early in the summer after the Euros to say like that, we can have him as an exchange. We take Coleman on.
Play for Ukraine and go, yeah, no, thank you.
We take Coleman. You can have Shevchenko for about 20 to 30 million, something like that, and then Arsenal will hopefully say yes, something like that, and Bayern Munich say yes, and that area of the pitch is covered. And as I said, Gyökeres is the only striker I think is going to come out, and I've got something. And Osimhen, I've got a feeling he will end up as a Chelsea player by the end of the window.
I think he's going to PSG.
Well, we'll see who's right.
Chelsea. Look, because Lukaku is the one they want as going the opposite direction, and like that. So we'll see. We'll see in this next 12 days who's going to come in at Arsenal. I believe 2 or 3, but who knows? It might be no one at the end, and then all the Arsenal fans will be fighting amongst each other, like that. And all the podcasts, various Arsenal podcasts, will have meltdowns. Not our one. Hopefully.
No, we're nice and controlled here. It's all right. I heard this Felix to Chelsea. I understand there may be a bit of the potential for the swap deal with Conor Gallagher and that one as well. But we're getting awful close to kick off at Leicester versus Spurs.
It's kicked off already. Kicked off on my TV already. And also, just another bit of news. If you did hear over the weekend, Charles Sago Jr. has joined Shrewsbury on loan to the end of the season, despite he signed a new 2-year contract at Arsenal before he left. So he'd be a Shrewsbury player until the end of this season. So all I can say is good luck to Charles. There are 2 others players that are linked to loan moves as well. So we have to wait and see if them 2 will find clubs between now and the window. That's all I have to say on that. That was the last bit of the academy news that I did said earlier.
All right then. Well, I think that just about brings us to a close for this evening. I do want to thank these 2 gentlemen for joining me on the stream this evening. Of course, don't forget, if we got this far, to hit a like on the stream. Please like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Emerson, do you want to plug anything before we go, mate?
As I said before, I'm not really on social media such like X. Mainly on Facebook, because there's 2 groups that I help, with my content regarding the academy news that I break, everything like that. So that keeps me busy throughout the day, thing like that. And that's the only content that I'm on. So thing like that, you get me on Facebook, but it's mostly on these 2 Arsenal groups that I've just thing that I do content to the academy news and the ladies news where I can, thing like that, because there's other ladies groups that are running, but they mostly concentrate on Arsenal ladies, and I don't get involved with those. Let them get on with it, and like that. So, and as I said to you privately last week, when we was off air, that we'll let Matt do the ladies' news, regarding matches for the coming season. But as I said, if he misses anything, anything like that, because I'm sure Matt didn't mention that Zinsberg got injured in that match yesterday as well. So we don't know if it's a serious injury or not. So
I knew she was replaced. So I didn't hear that.
I think we need to speak to Matt to say for follow up regarding that injury to Zinsberger. And we know that Lottie, she had a sort of, I believe, a broken nose because she left the field with her nose tissue up her nose. So fingers crossed that's not a broken nose either. So
fair enough. Right then.
So
just throw it to my broadcast.
Right then, that's it.
Thank you very much.
You can find me on Twitter or X at Posh Bertie. My Instagram's at Bertie Wadless, and I run Gooner Gathering's Instagram account, which is at Gooner Gathering, where we watch Arsenal, so you don't have to. Except I didn't watch Arsenal on Saturday because I was at Ebbsfleet.
There we go. That could be your new catchphrase. But yeah, thank you very much all for watching. You can find me at Goonerly Mead. Find all of us at Gooner Gathering. And you'll catch us later on in the week. I'm sure a couple of shorts will pop up. And I'm pretty sure we'll do a preview to the Aston Villa game later in the week. But enjoy the rest of your evening. I'm going to go and spend some time with my family. So I shall see you all later on. Thank you very much for watching.